Yes, you did it very well, I admired you, Grandmother Sedina remarked. You didn't fail either. Yes, I'm proud of my phrase about amiable neighbors. That is that what you call thank you? Exclaimed the grandfather. I heard everything perfectly, but God bless me if I realized that this referred to Swann. You can be sure that he didn't understand anything. No, Swann is not that stupid, I'm sure he figured it out. I couldn't say how many bottles and how much they are. Left alone, Father and Mother sat for a while, then Father said, well, if you want, let's go to bed. That's if you want, my friend, I have no sleep in either eye. However, I don't think harmless coffee ice cream would turn me on like that. And the light is on in the pantry. Well, since dear Françoise is still waiting for me, I will ask her, while you are undressing, to unbutton my corsage. And then my mother opened the lattice door from the front to the stairs. Soon I heard her rising to close the window in her room. I slipped into the corridor, my heart was beating so hard that I could hardly walk, but now it was no longer beating with melancholy, but with joy and fear. I saw a candle illuminating the stairwell. Then I saw my mother. I rushed to her. At first, she, not understanding what was the matter, looked at me with amazement. Then anger appeared on her face. She didn't say a single word to me. However, they didn't talk to me for several days because of sheer trifles. If my mother said even one word to me, it would mean that you can talk to me, and, perhaps, it would be even more terrible for me. I would imagine that, in comparison with the terrible retribution awaiting me, silence, a break, rubbish. The word would be tantamount to a calm tone, which is spoken with a servant who is decided to be counted, or a kiss that is given to a son called up for military service, and which under other circumstances would not have been given to him, since there was an agreement to impose a 2-day disgrace on him. But then my mother heard the steps of my father, who came out of the dressing room where he was undressing, and, in order to avoid the scene that he would have arranged for me, his voice choked with indignation said, "Run. Run. It's still not enough for your father to see that you are sticking around like a fool. Come and say goodbye to me," I babbled, dreading the glow of my father's candle creeping up the wall, and at the same time using its approach as a means of blackmail in the hope that my mother, fearing that my father would not find me here if she will persist, she will say, "Go to your room, I will come right away." But it was too late, our father was standing in front of us. I involuntarily burst out, however, so quietly that no one heard my words, "I'm dead." However, this did not happen. My father constantly withdrew my benefits under the broader regulations adopted by my mother and grandmother. He did not pay attention to principles and did not consider human rights. For completely random reasons, or even for no reason at all, for a minute he would deprive me of a walk so familiar, so sanctified by custom, that it was already a real perjury on his part, or, as tonight, long before the appointed hour, he announced, "Go to bed," without any talk. But since he had no principles, in the sense that grandmother understood them, one could not really blame him for intolerance either. He looked at me in surprise and angrily, but when my mother, "What's the matter?" he said, "Well, go to him, after all. You yourself said that you don't feel like sleeping, stay with him a little." "I don't need anything. I don't want to sleep or I don't want to, it doesn't change things at all. You can't teach a child." "Yes, no one teaches," shrugging his shoulders, the father remarked. "You see, the boy is upset, he looks dejected, that we are with you. Executioners, or what? And if he goes to bed because of you, what then?"